Good afternoon, scrubs. Woo! Another day here in the neighborhood. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed here. Hit the like button coming through the door. This is one crack news, man. And normally I don't do this, but I feel that I have a job and a duty to the people, especially people that subscribe to me, to tell you guys so you guys will be aware of situations and protect you and protect your time. So, like when I review a movie or any of these things that I do in my time, I make sure it isn't wasted, you know? So I'll try to make sure I save you guys time and saying, hey, I saw this movie, this is what it's about, you can check it out or just don't go waste your time. See, that's why people do things like film review, to not waste the time of the other person who might have similar tastes. Now, if you somebody who like garbage, then you might check it out and say, I think this is great. Because you're somebody who can't differentiate between good things and bad things. Now, I think everybody knows when I say the worst podcast show there is. A lot of people know exactly what it is. You said it in the chat. The worst podcast show on YouTube is Gil's Arena. And we're going to explain in here. I think I've already explained why it's the worst podcast show I've seen on YouTube. The topics are like Scooby-Doo, Milk Dud, Cotton Candy topics. It's just, if you like garbage, that show is for you. You have to have the IQ of minus 35 to sit there and watch and listen to that show. It is a hard show to listen to. It's really bad. Great set. All these producers, everybody's around there. And they still faking views, still fake traffic, using click farms, trying to falsify attention when no one cares about anything that they're doing. Seriously, no one cares. So now, when the process is going on and it's god awful, we've seen it. You're supposed to be able to get information from podcast shows. That's why people do it, is to get information and give you some insight. And it's very rare or seldom you get it. With Kenyon Martin, you get insight. So Kenyon Martin is the only bright spot, I would say, on there. Rashad McCants is, he's Rashad McCants. So he's just going to do what he can. He can't, whenever he has a good take and they're, it's like, okay, well, let him go. They cut him off. They don't even let him finish his thought. They cut Rashad McCants off and then he just shuts down. And whatever he was talking about, he never elaborates on, or it never gets finished because they cut him off and make him sound stupid on the show. They play him like he's a retard. Brandon Jennings is so damn high half the time, He probably say 5 words the whole damn podcast. Unless somebody say something to get him mad, then he wake up. This show is bad, man. Lexi Brown, like, what is she there for? I have no idea. At least with Miko, you had the titties on the screen. That would have made it, interesting to look at. But let's get to okay. Now I'm just going to tell you how it just got worse. Now, the show is awful. And I didn't even mention the host and the show is named after. I didn't even mention how terrible he is. But the show just got worse. As now they're going into more of a reality television thing, where they're going to be taking cameras and going behind the scenes to have a reality TV vibe because they want to sell the show to Netflix. Because Netflix is going streaming. Oh my God. A lot of these networks are doing that. In the next coming of years, probably 2025, a lot of companies are going to be doing basically app streaming. And Netflix is trying to perfect their live streaming because they want to have more live events like they did with Chris Rock and his performance. Oh, Joe is right behind it. The Joe Budden podcast is just as bad. Oh my God. That's like 1A and 1B. They are the 2 worst podcast shows on the network. Joe Budden, they know their show is bad. See, that's the thing about Joe Budden. He knows his show sucks. He's not delusional about that. He knows his show is garbage. And they just like, look, this is garbage, but we got to scream at each other. But yeah, that show is awful too. God, is it awful. You say No Jumper is the worst? Well, I'm going to tell you something about No Jumper that you probably didn't know. No Jumper actually had a lot of insight on some of the episodes. You got a lot of information. On Gil's Arena, you get a lot of false information. You get misinformation. Completely misinformation. The Knuckleheads podcast show, they get it right. That's a good show. It's a great podcast show. I try to watch and support their show because a lot of people copied off them and just went with it. Podcast P, you had a lot of insight on there, plus some comedy. It's more lighthearted, but it's a good one. It's not great. They do be a lot of cotton. They still cotton candy with it, but I understand why they have to be, because PG is still in the league. The Pivot podcast is great. I Am Athlete. I told you that was dead the moment they left. Rory and Mal, it kind of tapered off, but I think it's coming back up now that they have a third party in there to help them out. Like, they needed a moderator. They needed someone in between to bounce off of. Morning. Well, I think that going in that direction was very, it was very keen for everyone involved, because you're always going to have a point where someone is not doing what they're supposed to do. Well, Mero and Jesus end up splitting because the Showtime people didn't, one guy goes corporate and another guy doesn't. That's what ends up happening. But yeah, so Gil's Arena is going to purposely start doing what the Joe Budden podcast is doing, and creating scenarios where they have fake arguments and start beefing with each other over nothing to get the attention of stupid people. See, Joe is aware of what their show is, and Gil wants to capitalize off of that because he knows his show. Well, he actually thinks it's not as bad, but he's just trying to sell it to get money, because now it's time to start kicking in. So the idiots at Underdog just keep giving up money because they think this is going to turn into something. So Underdog go, okay, all right, here's some more money. And one day we're going to have LeBron on that couch. We got Steph Curry last time. Look, I like the setup and everything. The content is what's terrible. It's like somebody has to watch this. Like, I just watched this guy, Gil, tell a goddamn lie and give total misinformation about the Chris Paul trade. Then you got this big ass Samoan looking dude with a laptop in his lap, look like a goddamn lunch box, sitting on his damn lap, and he just you can look up anything this guy just said and saw that he was capping. This dude's sitting there with a laptop in his damn lap, like, well, thank you for that. Another Gil telling us the truth. I'm like, and I gotta save the people. And I was like, I gotta save the people, because people are gonna sit there and listen to this and believe that this shit is true. And then I'm gonna have to spend my time correcting them when these idiots come running on the platform saying that ain't what Gil said. And I'd be like, so now I gotta do this all over again. So he makes my job harder. I gotta step up and correct all the lies that he tells. Or people be walking around here screwed up believing lies. that just came pouring out of his mouth. Misinformation. This fool actually said, oh, well, the Chris Paul trade, David Stern, who you think he was talking to in those CBA meetings? Huh? Chris Paul. David Stern was talking with Chris Paul. Who you think he talking to in the CBA? Oh, they knew what was going on. I just shake my head, man. You got to shake your head at some of this nonsense, because everything he said was wrong. So, do he not know who Billy Hunter is? Do he not know who D-Fish is? Of course he should know who D-Fish is. Think they all know who D-Fish is. So, Derek Fisher and Billy Hunter was in charge and represented the players, not Chris Paul. Oh my God. I'm telling you, man, do your homework before you go out there and start talking to people, Gil, and giving them the wrong information. And to that big Samoan dude sitting over there with the laptop in his lap, actually use the damn laptop instead of chatting and seeing what's trending on Twitter. Actually use it for information. I don't know what's going on with the crackhead. That's his thing. I don't know if the crackhead talking about me. Is he not talking about me? I don't check on that. That dude he's done. We left him alone, a year ago. You probably running around here begging for attention as usual. Trying to use KB name. Well, when your show is awful, these are the results. That's why I'm trying to save y'all. Now they finna start these little infights. They tried to have Kenyon Martin fighting with Rashad McCants. That ain't, Kenyon ain't finna do that. So now they put Brandon Jennings in there trying to fight with Rashad McCants, talking about who was a better basketball player. You see what I'm saying? Just more and more nonsense. Now they finna take a camera, give you a camera view. So they gonna get behind the scenes locker room where they gonna stage scenes and then have people come in there and be like, yeah, that's why I can't really stand him on the show, so they can get their reality TV thing on. Nobody has anything creative to do. They all copy off each other. So he been watching reality TV, saw how they was doing it on like Love and Hip Hop and said, oh, I'm gonna do that on my show. So just letting y'all know what's in store. So this would be a good time to get off that if you're over there. But if you like crap, by all means, stay right over there. Stay right there and keep enjoying it. But if you don't like garbage, and if you think this is a lie, just wait. Then when you see it, you're going to say, damn, Cino called it. This is exactly what they doing. They running a script. Man, this show is fake. Then I won't look like a hater. Right now, today, y'all might say, you just hate. Okay, I'll take that. I'll be a hater today and be right tomorrow. Oh, somebody asked a question. They said, why do you care about Gil's show if it's trash and don't watch and give no promo? I don't think this is a promo for a show. Do you think this is a promo for a show? Or am I giving information about a bad podcast show? One of the worst I've ever seen on YouTube. It's the worst podcast show on television. You got one guy that comes out and spit misinformation and no one corrects him on it. You have Rashad McCants can't finish a thought before they cut him off and try to make him sound like a stupid individual and start yelling back at him and cutting him off from making a point. Brandon Jennings, you got to yell at him to get him motivated to even speak. He just sits there on the couch stuck because he hides a kite. Then you got Kenyon Martin, who really seems like he's not even a part of that group at all. The only bright spot on there, the only smart person on there, and it's like he's on a doofus show. It's like, why is he even here with these people? He's light years smarter than all of them put together. And he don't participate in none of the foolery. And you can see that. They tried to start a little thing with him and Rashad McCants. He wasn't going for it. So then they switched it over to Brandon Jennings. Oh, Brandon Jennings, you start with Rashad McCants. Now we're going to have who's the better player. Cotton candy topics. Whenever you start seeing generic topics, okay, who's the top 5 finisher in 2 minutes? Okay, you go. I'll be like, well, this is what's trending on Twitter right now. So I said, let's bring it up as a topic. So stupid. It's lazy. And now they finna run this reality TV thing. They finna make their show into reality television. They're gonna take cameras and go behind the scenes. It's like, we're gonna take the cameras and go behind the scenes. We're gonna follow the cast and see what's happening. He was watching Love and Hip Hop, saw them take cameras back there, and those people going back there talking about other people behind their back and all that stuff, and he want to record that and put all that on YouTube. How's it behind their back if you putting it on YouTube? And they got a camera there. I'm like, yeah, boy, it's so stupid. It's so damn dumb. But he knows people are stupid. And that's what he wants. He wants to attract the people that's not smart. So I'm just warning all the people that's smart. If you're smart and you don't like garbage or your time wasted, now'd be the time to get out. Absolutely. Not Gilly's show. Gil's Arena. Yeah, that show. That shit show. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna let it ride, but I felt like I got a duty to inform the people. Because what it's doing is he say dumb shit and like it's fact. Like Chris Paul and David Stern was in the damn meeting together. And they was in the collective bargaining agreement. So how's he gonna trade him? Chris Paul right there in the meeting. And he talking to Chris Paul. And I'm like, the hell are you talking about? That don't even make no damn sense. Chris Paul was not. It's like this dude just he just says things. And everybody takes it as fact. And then I told you, you got this big, gigantic Samoan looking dude sitting up there with a laptop. I told you it looked like a lunchbox sitting up there on his lap. Might as well be a lunchbox. He ain't doing nothing with it. All he doing is checking Twitter. He ain't even look it up, though. He gonna sit there and go, well, thanks again. That's Gil giving us some great info, some behind the scenes info. I'm like, these are a bunch of morons. I was like, I gotta go up there and address this now, because that's a lie. Derek Fisher, they know D Fish. They know him quite well. Yeah, I gotta watch it to save y'all time. I'm saving y'all the time. I'm the time of day not to go over there. I get sent clips. Oh my God. Like I just told y'all, the people that represented the players during that whole 2011 season was Billy Hunter and Derek Fisher. Gil was still an active player in the NBA at that time, and he don't know who was representing the players? Representing him? He thought it was Chris Paul? You see what I'm talking about? I'm walking down the street and know it was Billy Hunter and Derek Fisher representing the players. That wasn't the only inaccuracy, he said. Of course, he ain't gonna have nobody on the show that would correct him when he say something stupid. That he don't want that. He want whatever he say stupid to ride. That's why it's on there like that. Michael was a good defender. Mike would run through picks. Mike would pick you up and guard you and chase people around. Like he had to guard Reggie Miller. And he didn't ask for a night off. He didn't ask for a switch. He wanted to guard Reggie. And Reggie gonna run him through 1,000 picks and Mike gonna be there. But I understood what Rasheed was trying to say. She was saying that Michael isn't as great of a defender as people think he is. Now, what she didn't realize is she didn't catch Mike in his prime. But it is true. He's not an outstanding, like Rodman was a better defender than Michael Jordan. Jordan had unbelievable athleticism and energy. And he gambled a lot on defense. So you could fool him a lot. And he tried to recover with his athleticism. But sometimes he's out of position. And because he's a gambler on defense a lot, as Kobe Bryant did a lot, They took chances, but they were great. Like, they were good defenders all the way. The thing is about Michael was an arm chopping son of a bitch. I'm telling you, that was an arm chopping SOB right there. He will chop your arm. Every time you turn and try to go for a shot, he gonna swipe at it, and he know they ain't gonna call foul on him. That's just gonna be a steal for Michael Jordan. But everybody knows Jordan was an arm chopper. Except for Chicago Bulls fans. That's a steal by Michael. I'll be like, all right. So I understood what she was saying. He said, Michael, salute my ankle down today. Well, one of the main problems we have as people is that we never seem to know how to get it right. You see, I've heard Gil tell that lie 2 times, 2 different ways. The first time he mentioned the Chris Paul trade, he said he was involved in the trade. 10 months ago, Gilbert Arenas then already changed up the story. Now he take himself out of the equation because he knows that sounds stupid. I was supposed to be involved in that Chris Paul trade. But of course, he was sitting there interviewing some kid that don't know anything about what the hell Gilbert Arenas is talking about. He was on a show called Heat Check. And no disrespect to Heat Check, he didn't know what the hell Gil was talking about. So he just knows that he just heard of the trade before, but now he thinking he's getting some behind the scenes information from a former NBA player. So it must be true. So oh, his girl was in the last live stream. She pulled up to say hi. Well, his ex-girl. But no, this wasn't even about that. This is just, keeping it sports. And he just told this lie and said he was involved in the Chris Paul trade. And I'm like, are you out your damn mind? So this time he just said it just a couple days ago. He was smart enough not to mention he was a part of that trade again. Now, why would you correct that now on your show when you went on somebody else's show and said that you were linked to that trade? This man tried to say the Lakers wanted to get Dwight Howard at the same time, which was true. They did. They was going to give up Bynum, and then they was going to have me in that trade too, and with Turkaloo. And they was trying to figure out which one of us they was going to amnesty. Because of the CBA, once the CBA takes place, every team get to amnesty a player. Amnesty means their contract go off your salary cap. That won't be a hit on your salary cap. You get to put it off to the side and just pay that off in installments, how you gonna pay it, and it don't affect your salary cap. So Gil was averaging 8 points a game. And you got a guy averaging 13 points a game. You making $66 million. Of course they finna amnesty you. It ain't no decision on who they finna amnesty. He think they finna trade for him. He gonna be on the Lakers, and then the Lakers could amnesty me and put me off their books. And then the Orlando could go ahead and amnesty Turkaloo. I'm like, yo, that's the dumbest thing. Anybody in the history of mankind, the other 29 teams would have never went with that. And that's why you didn't see that done, because that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Who in their right mind would sit there and amnesty a player and take $66 million for a player that's giving you 8 points a game? And there's a problem on every team. Everybody telling you he arguing with the coach on what he want to do that day. And he giving you 8 points a game. And it was a question on who they gonna amnesty. You got 66 million still owed to you. Yeah, they finna write you off their books. Ain't no decision to make. What decision should we make? Should we amnesty the guy that's giving us more points for less minutes? Or should we take this 8-point guy? There's no decision to make. It was already made. You were gone. Well, when you look at scenarios, and we were talking about how this guy was lying. Oh yeah, we still here. Still here. Now the battery died. It just drained out. I thought I had enough to get back to the crib. And boy, did that thing go like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm like, my goodness. They ain't give me no time to get to the crib. I'm like, ain't that something? Where they do that at? Now, we were exposing Gil's lies, right? Now, we were talking about an amnesty and how an amnesty works. Now, like I told you, an amnesty a team could do after a collective bargaining agreement. Each team can amnesty a player, which wouldn't go against their salary cap. That would be off to the side. The fool Gil tried to tell people that he was involved in a deal that could go to the Lakers, and that the Lakers could have amnestied him, and then they could have amnestied Turkaloo in Orlando, and then they books would have been clean. Yeah, if the Lakers want to be stupid, but then they still obligated to pay you $66 million. And then it was like, and then they're gonna get Dwight Howard too? That was completely dumb. So not true. He was never involved in that move. They tried to see and work, could they get a trade done for Dwight Howard, because Dwight Howard was unhappy at the time. But then they ended up keeping Dwight Howard. So, they were able to make him happy for the time being. So he ended up staying. But they can get Dwight Howard in free agency. So they ended up making a trade for him anyway when he was, he wanted a trade, he wanted the coach gone, and it was a mess. But they ended up getting Dwight Howard, and that definitely didn't pan out. Mm-hmm. Uh, no, nobody wanted to play with Gil at that point. No, he was done. His whole career was done. The level of importance that other people tried to do or manipulate, and let's just say it was a lot different. It was a lot different than the way they presented themselves now. So he had nothing to do with the Chris Paul trade whatsoever. Nah. Just another lie by him to make himself sound important. He was averaging 8 points a game. So if you're averaging 8 points a game, what could you actually do? Mm. I mean, really, you're averaging 8 points a game and you're getting $66 million. You're not going to get another contract in the league. The Grizzlies took a shot on him. They said, "Hey, well, let's go ahead and see what this guy's got. Let's pick this guy up because he got waived completely. Like they just like go home. We don't even want you on the team anymore." Okay, well, I never heard of that podcast, but that's what I'm saying. This is the worst podcast out of the ones I've seen. Gil's Arena is god awful. Now, no, the battery just died. That's all. But the problem in the situations that occur aren't usually abundant in these what you would call lighthearted conversations, right? You start saying to yourself, "Man, like, what am I doing? Why am I going through all this? What for?" I thought when you created a podcast show and you played in the league, you have some insight. You have some fun stories to tell, but you have some insight. That's what I thought the show was like destined to be. You right, Leaf. It's trash. Absolute trash. Man, Kyrie and them, man, they was on a live stream just killing it upstairs. Like when I got out of the chat on my last live stream, they were killing it still. Like that live stream, man. Shouts out to them, man. They held it down. I might put that in the Patreon because they was just smoking. They was killing that whole thing. Um, No, that's basically it. I'll explain the trade again and what actually took place because he said Mark Cuban wanted to. He wasn't okay with the Lakers getting 24 million, saving 24 million dollars in cap space, and that wasn't fair. After they just went through this whole, collective bargaining agreement. That's partly true, but it's more to it than that, and it's not like how he drawn it out to be because what he said just I'll do a video and do all that and I'll cover that and I'll let you know exactly what the real was and not what you know Gil just said. This is why he don't debate. This is why he doesn't want to have anybody combat anything that he says because he knows it's just bullshit. So I gotta warn you, the general public, so you have the freedom of choice to you want to continue to support that bullshit and keep watching it. That's up to you. Now me, I'm not gonna support that. I'm out on it completely. Now when they start going to this reality show thing for people who said I was hating, when they go to this reality show format, right? And they start doing the cameras following people in the back, start looking like Love and Hip Hop. You remember this video? Remember when you said I was a hater in the chat? I want you to hold on to that. When you see it happen live, I want you to hold on to it. So shouts out to Kwame Brown Bust Life. I want to say shouts out to all y'all real people in the chat who know to stay away from bullshit and support real shit. And for those who like bullshit, then that's for you. Shouts out to Welcome to HDII TV, Armando Black TV, Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez, The Dreamers Pro, Ticket TV, and Leaf. And I'm out.